What's up, everyone that follows Clint's channel?
So we're at McDonald's today doing the first McDonald's session interview with Brandon. Since this is the first one, I don't really know how the format's going to work, but I'm trying to interview athletes, mostly runners. Brandon's a runner, and we're going to talk to him about his running experiences, background, and just whatever else we get into. So I ordered food. Brandon won't eat here, but I like it here, so.
I'm gonna get a drink.
Okay, yeah, you got a drink.
I turned this camera on the seat just to see how cool it looked, and Clint went like right into actor mode. Did y'all see that? Like Clint went right, he went right into like, this is what we're here for, this is what we're doing. I just kind of wanted to get some background stuff just of us just standing here talking. Clint went into like full storytelling mode. Here's what we're here for, here's what we're gonna do. I'm interviewing athletes. Brandon is the best athlete I know. I just kind of want to see this camera. It's actually a really cool camera. But no, this camera's really cool. I'm excited to be here, see what Clint has come up with. We got some interview questions. Just gonna hang out. I haven't seen him in about 6 weeks. I'm visiting Kansas. Came here for my sister's wedding. I go home here in a couple of days. So we're gonna hang out. We're gonna catch up, interview each other. He thinks I'm the only one getting interviewed, but I'm gonna ask this dude probably about 20 questions. I got some questions for him. So we both are getting interviewed, and we're just gonna have some fun. So. Yeah.
Okay, I am here today with Brandon Gant. He was formerly my trainer for, what, 4 years?
Something like that, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So he worked over at the YMCA, and we just randomly got matched up as a trainer.
Yeah.
And he then started his own gym a couple times, had his own place a couple times.
Yeah.
Then he went to Anytime Fitness, and then I went over at, I don't know what the place at Drive 5 is called. What was that?
All in Sports?
Yeah. So I went to All in Sports. So
yeah.
I followed him around. Then he moved to Charlotte, which is way too far away for me to follow him. But so we worked together for a long time. I've kind of got him to run some races with me, and we became friends like through all that. I mean, I was not the same person when we started at all. I never thought that we'd be doing something like this. So
yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think time went by so fast. I think I met you and Wendy in 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were probably triple this size. You wouldn't be able to fit into this screen with me, you know, that guy. But yeah, 2015, and we bounced around a little bit. So, but
yeah.
I've been knowing you all for a long time.
Yeah.
Literally chasing Addy were, shorties.
Yep.
So yeah, now both of them dang near taller than me. So Chase is taller than me.
So he's trained both our kids. He's been there pretty much, I think, almost every dog that we got you've seen.
Oh yeah.
Like right when we got them, and so it's been very fun. So
it's been a journey for sure. It's been a fun journey. It's been cool to see the growth of the kids, the dogs, you and Wendy. That's been cool. It's been really good.
So tell me a little about yourself. I know you grew up partly here, partly all over the place. So tell me a little bit about that and your kind of athletic background and how you got to be a personal trainer.
I think so I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. I was originally born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Didn't live there 2 years of my life before my mom moved here because my grandfather was here. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I grew up in the ghetto. Right? But as a kid, you really don't know that it's the ghetto. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know that it's the ghetto. You don't know, honestly, how bad your surroundings and environment is. But I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. I moved to Olathe when I was 15 years old. I moved out here with my aunt and uncle for a few years and finally got my mom to move out here. And then after that, I kind of bounced around a little bit. School in South Dakota. I'm going to speed this up. School in South Dakota. Lived in Arizona for a couple of years. moved back here, and yeah, now I'm in Charlotte. So
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's the last stop. So we'll see. Me and my wife, we may get the moving bug again. But I'm a little bit about my background. As a kid, just being athletic, being involved in sports. I grew up in a Boys and Girls Club, so for me, art and sports was kind of my outlet just to be active and kind of expend some energy, if I'm being honest, right? I dealt with some anger issues. I would much rather punch a wall when I was frustrated than do anything else or punch somebody. But honestly, it just gave me something to kind of pour my energy into. And when I found out that I was good at it, I just kind of went balls to wall and just kind of gave him all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's how I got involved in sports. I mean, my older brother, my older cousins, they're always playing basketball, football, frisbee. It didn't matter if there was a ball, a rock. It doesn't matter. We're gonna play around with it. We're gonna figure out a game. And I think just growing up athletic, being a huge sports fan, and being around athletes, just kind of naturally just went down that path. And becoming great at sports, you get support, right, from your family members. You get support from people around. You get support from the Boys and Girls at the Boys and Girls Club, and you just become this beast of an athlete.
And you played wide receiver at South Dakota State?
We're not even there yet.
Oh, I thought you were.
I'm talking childhood, my goodness. So yeah, I'm 7 years old and I got recruited by South Dakota State. So no, that's kind of how I got my start in sports, just kind of being around sports and going to the Boys and Girls Club. But no, so yeah, I did. So I got a scholarship to play college football at South Dakota State. And I would say more than anything, I'm just an athlete. I categorize myself as an athlete. But there's so many. There's so many layers. It's so hard to say that. But based on this conversation now, I will say that I'm an athlete. But there are a lot of layers to me because originally, and you may not notice about me, my very first love was art. Like I love and still love art. I don't do it as much as I used to, but I used to draw, I used to paint, and I was into pottery. So.
I remember when I used to draw a lot of stuff on the board for our workouts.
That's right.
And I was like, that's pretty nice.
Pretty good.
And I would always say, like, who drew that? You say,
like me.
Okay, sorry, I forgot I didn't bring an extra battery. I'm new at this, but we were talking about your football experience and your art experience. So.
And my drawing skills and how I used to draw on the board, like for Christmas, for Halloween, for Valentine's Day, you name it, I used to always draw. But yeah, so you did see a little bit of my skills. Clint got to see my skills. He's all impressed. Who drew this? I'm like, dude, it was me. What do you know?
He also has really girly handwriting.
I do have girly handwriting. It's very, very neat. But that was my very first love. So I put a lot of time, effort, and energy into that, and I just kind of like to be mentally stimulated. So
Did you take art classes in college?
Or
did you give it up before then?
I gave it up way before then. I think I had so much support behind like playing football, basketball, and running track, and like art and chess was just a way for me to slow down, be mentally stimulated, and I was great at both. It was just skills that I really didn't sharpen, after maybe like elementary school.
Have you ever thought about going back?
Oh my goodness, man, all the time. Like that's something that I you know what? Not only do I want to do it, but I'm going to get a sketch pad and just start drawing again. That's something that I want to do. It's just, I think now you just naturally fill your time with social media. You fill your time with other stuff, right? Maybe even naps. I'm a huge napper, so.
I think if you knew Brandon and he told you he was into art, you would think he was like the guy that was the model. You'd be like one of the guys and like just a pair of shorts or maybe less. Just standing there and be like, draw this.
So yeah, a little bit of nude modeling for people to draw me. But no, so that was my first love. So yeah.
So once you were through at South Dakota State, how did you get to the next step of training, or how did you get to the YMCA, or was there a stop between school and there?
Oh my goodness! I think so. I played football at South Dakota State, and it was a great 5 years. Right, I enjoyed it. I met some great guys, played some high level football, and I just think when you're in college, it's hard to see the end. You know what I mean? It's so hard to see the end of that road because you're in it. And so being in it, playing hard, looking great. I mean, you're at the top of your game. You feel like you're in the best shape of your life. You never know that like at that moment, you don't think that it will end.
Yep.
But when I tell you that it ended so quick, it ended so fast for me, and it was a reality check because you go from having a full training staff, you go from having coaches, you go from not having to think when you go into the gym. You kind of know what you're doing because your workout plan's written for you. You have meals that's already prepared for you as far as the cafeteria and other places. Your condition is written for you. Everything is done for you. And so when I was done, I actually I knew I didn't want to come back to Kansas, so I moved to Arizona. I made the decision to move to Arizona. I'm like, I don't have any children. I'm not in a serious relationship. I can kind of fly, spread my wings, and go. And so I moved down to Arizona thinking that I would try out for the Arizona Rattlers. That was the arena team at the time. So that was at the forefront of my mind. I'm going down. I'm not done with football. I'm going to try out for the Rattlers. That didn't happen.
You didn't try out, or you didn't?
Well, I was having so many. I was having hamstring issues, so I pulled my hamstring a lot in school, right? Yeah. I play wide receiver, and we have to run a lot. Not only that, I think just the biomechanics of like knowing movement now and like how your body should move. I had a muscular imbalance back in college, but I had no idea. You know, my quads were extremely strong. I would squat the house, but I didn't get much activation on my hamstring, so I always pulled my hamstring. In fact, I pulled my hamstring running with you a couple of summers ago, right? Yeah. And so I've dealt with this for an extremely long time, and that was the last time I pulled it.
And I think it's sprints, like that fast explosion that does it.
Having your hamstring respond to you exploding off the line or just picking up speed in a general sprint. But I dealt with hamstring issues, and honestly, I was just tired of it. I'm like, maybe I'm unfixable, so I'm done with football. I'm done with dealing with this because it would naturally cause for me to play slow, right? I didn't want it because every time I tried to play fast, every time I tried to explode, every time I tried to run full speed, I would pull my hamstring, right? And so I'm like, I'm playing about 80% of my speed and my power and explosiveness, and then it just kind of looks like I'm being lazy and not really giving full effort. So mentally that got to me, and I'm like, you know what, I'm done with football. I'm out here in Arizona. I had enough rent to probably cover 3 or 4 months. I need a job, so I started working at Applebee's. I started working at a warehouse right out of college. Again, reality check. Fast forward, I gained about 60 pounds in the course of a year. I mean, I'm still young too, so I'm partying. I'm at Applebee's eating off the plates. I'm sedentary. I'm working at a warehouse like this, working on medical kits, but I gained so much weight and I was out of shape from the time that I graduated probably to the end of the year. So I think I walked across the stage that summer. By the time that December came, dude, I was so out of shape. Like it was crazy because I was still able to play basketball and do things and still be athletic. I could still dunk a basketball, but I'm 255 pounds. Wow. You know what I mean? Right? And yeah, it wasn't until I moved back to Kansas. So let's see, I quit both of those jobs. I transitioned. I transitioned from those jobs and I became a life insurance agent. I enjoyed being a life insurance agent because it gave me flexibility, but that did not help with the weight either because I was still sitting. I was still eating like crap. I was at a bunch of meetings. I would literally go and meet with people at different restaurants and coffee shops and just kind of eat, drink, and try to sell some life insurance, slinging insurance. But when I moved back here in 2015, so I moved my insurance business back here, right? I moved back here. You start seeing friends. You start seeing, old teammates. And, everybody's kind of like, yeah, you look different. AKA, dude, you're getting fat. Yeah. And I notice it as well, but, it's not until your family and your friends start to kind of, and they're, dude, you look different. I mean, they're used to you being an athlete that's in shape, that looks the part as well. And so I just wanted to do something differently. I'm like, you know what? I am working this job as a life insurance agent, but I have to be active. Like I got to get back into my routine. I think losing that structure that I had in college really, really hurt me. I mean, I no longer had a game plan, and so that was really hard for me. And I think a lot of athletes go through that, just losing your game plan. So I got a second job or not well, before I got the second job, I joined Nyron as a member.
Okay.
Right? That's a kickboxing gym. So I joined as a member. I think within the first week, I talked to the owner and I had a job there. Right? Just because I could go through the workout and it was fine. But I was still 250 plus pounds. And from that experience, going in there, kickboxing, it definitely just gave me a taste of what I was missing as far as like training and just like truly chasing after a healthier me. And so I aggressively lost weight within like 4 months after going to kickboxing. One piece that I was missing was the nutrition part. So I remember talking to a few friends and just Googling, watching videos on YouTube about nutrition. And so once I coupled the nutrition with that kickboxing, I mean, weight just started flying off. And so the story became, how did you lose so much weight so fast? You look great. I went from looking sick at first because I lost a lot. I lost a lot of muscle too. To just, I mean, I got my body back, right? And again, it was in 4 months. So my friends and family that were once laughing at me and calling me fat started asking me, dude, how did you do what you did in such a short amount of time, right? And I started helping people.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I got into training. Like honestly, I started helping people. Even the members at 9 Round would see they saw my transformation as well, so they would start asking questions as well. So I'm just sharing with everybody. Here's what I did. Here's what I did. You know. But honestly, I think it was the mindset that was developed as an athlete. You know, I was able to click back into that mindset. I call it a winner's mindset. And just get done what I needed to get done.
Did you feel like not just the physical, did you feel like you lost kind of your athlete attitude too when that happened?
When what happened?
Like when you gained all the weight, did you feel like you almost weren't the same person anymore?
Oh, I was depressed as hell. Oh yeah, I was depressed. Oh no, there's no doubt in my mind that if I would have went to go see someone that they were like, dude, you are depressed. Absolutely. And my mind was like one of the first things to go, and I know because my decision making was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my decision making was terrible. Yeah, it was all bad. I'll just say that. I made poor decisions. My thought life was extremely poor. Like even, you know, I talk about high vibration, low vibration. Like my entire existence was just extremely low. You know what I mean? Right? I didn't really have energy. I would have to force like relationships, and I've really never had to force relationships. I would get annoyed with people. That anger that I used to tap into as a kid was starting to come back as well, right? I didn't want to do things. I didn't want to get out of the house. And I'm a little bit of a homebody anyways. That's something that you probably didn't know about me either. But I am a little bit of a homebody, but I just remember just kind of being in a really, really dark place. And all I cared about at the time was money. You know what I mean? The end result of getting money. Mm-hmm. And chasing money, I lost so much, man. So yeah, my mind was in a dark place for sure. Yeah. It was scary. It's scary to look back on it and just see how, I'm like, I don't know how I got through that period of my life, but I did. Oh, yeah.
So, you know, if anyone's out there, they can definitely fix it. I mean, it's never too late. I mean, look, I probably didn't start training. I mean, I didn't even run a race till like 2018, so it's been like 4 years.
Yeah.
So, and I was 43, 44.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's never too late. And I think I could, if you're in your 50s, you could still do it. So I think that's definitely a good lesson. But the biggest lesson is don't get into the dark place. Like once you get done being an athlete, just keep going because it's a lot harder to fix it than to go back.
I think it's hard to tell somebody not to get in a dark place because a lot of times you didn't even know.
Yep.
I think it'd be better to say, you know, your goals and values matter.
Yeah. Goals
and values matter because that will allow for you to know how to navigate through the dark place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? Because I think it's inevitable. I mean, you're going to run into some type of resistance. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean, you're going to. I mean, it doesn't matter. Anything great that you're trying to achieve, any road that you're on, there's going to be resistance. In your relationships, there's going to be resistance. But I think it's knowing how to navigate through that resistance, knowing how to ask for help, and knowing kind of how to power through. You know what I mean? Just have a little bit of willpower.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's helpful, but if I could have avoided it, if I knew how, I would have. But it's just like, it just comes on you so fast. It's like the snowball effect, you know? And you look up and it's like, how did I get here? You don't even know. You know what I mean? Right? Don't shut out the people around you because they will probably be the ones to help you out the most. Don't seclude. The moment that you seclude yourself, I truly believe that we heal in community. You know what I mean? And the moment that you seclude yourself and you cut yourself off to any help, any interaction with people, that's when it becomes really, really, really dark. You know what I mean? Because you're kind of hiding yourself. You don't want to see anyone. You don't want anyone to see you, but you're cut off from growth and healing. So I didn't heal until I kind of broke out. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk. This is a running channel, so let's talk about.
Oh yeah, talk about running.
Running a little bit. So when we first met, I specifically told Brandon, I think I've told this story on this channel a million times, but we were walking around by the treadmills and I told him that I never wanted to be on the treadmill. Like I couldn't run, like my feet wouldn't allow it. So don't even try that.
Here's what you said. You said, I can't stand longer than 10 minutes without my feet going numb. That's what you were telling me. And Wendy was like, yeah, it's true. I was like, is that true? And then he had on these like size 16 New Balances. And I'm like, no wonder you can't. No wonder you can't do anything. Those shoes are trash. I'm joking. New Balances are great shoes. But you were saying that your feet went numb and you didn't want to be on the treadmill because I can't remember you saying something like it just hurt, right?
Yeah.
I just remember the amount of pain that you were saying that you were in every time that you would try to do anything.
I still don't like the treadmill, but.
Well, yeah, no treadmill.
So at the beginning, I was not wanting to run, and then I really got into running, and eventually I'm pretty sure that I convinced you to start some more hardcore running. We signed up for the Clinton Half Marathon, which was your first half marathon.
You're skipping
I'm skipping?
a huge part in there.
What am I skipping about you?
So when we sat down at the YMCA, we had to write out goals.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I was like, you know what? I'm a challenge because I think it was Wendy that she was like, I used to run. She told me that she used to run. It was Wendy. She told me that she used to run, and I said, okay, well, let's talk about some short-term and long-term goals. And I set a long-term goal. We met in the fall. I set a goal for that summer, spring or summer, to say, hey, I want you to sign up for a 5K, and I want you to complete a 5K. And you all did it. Mm-hmm. And you did it. I don't, did we do it together or just you all went and did it?
I don't think so. And then right after that, someone in our neighborhood said, hey, would you like to run this 10K? That was the one that really launched it. Yeah. Because then we found out about all these challenges, found out about all these races that we didn't really know about. And then one of our goals that you're talking about was to run a 5K under 30 minutes. One of my goals is to run a 10K under 60 minutes, which I haven't got much faster than that still. But it was hard. At first I was 37 minutes for a 5K. Yeah. And that was a struggle. So yeah. I remember that, man. And then you were like, I signed up for all of these races, and I was like, what? Because you all had lost a good amount of weight. I think together you had lost at least 80 pounds in 4 or 5 months. Yeah. So I think that alone kind of I kind of feel better. I can do more. So, but yeah. So when it came to me running. Yeah. So then I was running all the time. I was running almost every weekend, and I would always try to get Brandon to come run a race, and he ran a few 5Ks here and there. Yeah. But then one day I was saying that we should get Wendy to run a half marathon, and you should run a half marathon for your first one. And I'm pretty sure we were sitting in the gym just like this, almost talking. Yep. And I think you had your phone, and I pretty much watched you the whole time go through. So I made sure that you.
You talking about when I my first race?
When you registered for the Clinton Half Marathon.
Oh yeah, he was micromanaging.
Because I had to make sure he was going to do it. Because I didn't believe it until I saw it, and then I knew if he paid the money, he would go because he wasn't going to waste that money.
So here's what happened. So once Clint got bit by the run bug. Because you got bit pretty fast, within 6 months, and you signed up for all those races. I knew that you were running, so I even changed your training a little bit, so that you can run. And I just think over time, because it took a few years. Over time, he's doing 5Ks, he's doing 10Ks, and the duration's getting longer, and he's loving it, enjoying it. And when COVID happened, right? Now, I don't like to run long distances. I'm fine with sprinting. I'll sprint because we run together. I mean, we would go sprint, we would do hills, short distances. And so when COVID happened and everything was shut down at the time, I was actually bulking for a bodybuilding show. So I had started bulking like December of 2019.
Yeah.
And when they shut everything down in the spring, you and Addie had went to run, right?
Yep. That was our first run together was you, me, and Addison. And we started at the gym and we ran 2 miles out and 2 miles in.
4 miles.
And Brandon almost died. Like, it is not a joke.
I did die.
He was so struggling. I remember where we turned around and he's like, do I got to go all the way out there? I was like, yeah, you got to get the whole 2 miles. I mean, and we weren't running that fast, and he was really struggling.
I was dead, absolutely.
There's like three runs I remember like that.
Oh yeah.
There's a 4 mile, and then one time you decided you'd run an 8 mile with me,
yeah.
And then right before we did 50K, we did like 21 miles or something.
Oh, yeah.
So they were all the same kind of thing where you weren't sure you could get to the end. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
And you did. It was a struggle, but once you did,
I did it.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I think it's just been a competitor. So when we ran those 4 miles, I just was not. I wasn't conditioned to run.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, why not? When he texts me, I'm like, why not? I mean, we're not doing anything else. I can't lift weights right now. I'm at home doing walks with Jazz, and I'm doing body weight stuff and band stuff in the house. And so I'm already bulked up. I think the only form of conditioning that I was doing was like walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes at a very, very low intensity type pace. And
like you weren't doing cardio at all, I remember.
Not at all, man. I was just eating weights. So about that, my back was hurting. I'm headed down to the end spot, and Clint and Addie's coming back, and that's when I was like, I gotta go there. Can I turn around with you all right here? He's like, no, dude, go down to the turnaround point. And so I think you two had been back for at least like 5, maybe 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, because we were like, should we go on? You're like, you just keep going because I don't want to hold you back. And I was like, well, I'll go to the car just in case.
Addie wasn't waiting on me. I knew Addie wouldn't wait on me.
She wouldn't wait on anyone.
Addie's like, I'm not waiting on Brandon. She probably didn't care if I made it back. She's like, whatever, dude. But when I finished, I felt so defeated. Like, I felt defeated. I'm just like, man, this run just crushed the heck out of me.
Yep.
So I think I want to run some more.
So then we ran a little bit more.
Yep.
And then we signed up for the Clint Half Marathon.
Yep.
And after that, Wendy, Brandon, and I ran almost 3 times every morning. We'd meet in the mornings at the gym. We'd meet at Mid-America. We'd meet pretty much, it seemed like the whole time we trained it was dark.
Yeah.
So and we were in the winter. We had like a run where it was pure ice, and we thought, and Brandon kept going when Wendy and I came back. And we thought he wasn't going to make it back, so we just waited.
So
we just ran a lot, and we ran a lot of times. And there was times where Wendy and him would meet, and they'd run like 4 or 5 miles, and I'd be running 10.
Oh yeah.
And I'd go out, but then they'd come back at the end. Or there's times where we would start Jimmy John's on 119th, and I would run really far and then catch up with them. So I'd always kind of like cross paths with them. Yeah. It was good to see someone, look forward to seeing someone. So we did that whole thing together, and then when we did that half marathon, like, did you think after the half marathon, do you think that's it? That's the furthest I'm gonna run? And
yeah.
So
I was, after the half marathon, I was done. I knew. So even after the 4 miles, I didn't think that I would run further than 4 miles. I just wanted to be able to dominate 4 miles, And so, remember the day I think I went running, and I was like, you know what? I think we were only gonna do like 4 miles that day. I was gonna turn around and come back.
And you said, let's just go to 8.
Let's just do 8. He was doing 8. I'm like, you know what? Let's just do the 8, man. Why not?
And he could barely get in his car. Like we got back to
like wobbling, trying to. And I'm just like, let's do 8. Why not? It can't be that hard. And it just slowly got longer and longer and longer, and then I was like, let's do that. But once we signed up for that half marathon, it got really fun then, because like I said, that's when we started to run together, plan our training runs together, meet up. It's just really cool.
Yeah, we ran a lot of places. We did a lot of like selfies with, and our pictures are always blurry. They always made fun of me for that. But yeah, we ran. So then after the half marathon, I think Wendy was like, I don't want to go any further.
Yeah.
But I knew Brandon could go further.
Well, yeah, I wanted to, because we ran at Wendy's pace, right? We didn't want to leave her behind. So we ran at Wendy's pace. But I felt like during that race, I'm like, I could have definitely cut my time down significantly. So a week later, was it a week?
Yeah.
I just ran a half marathon around Olathe. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get up Saturday, and I'm just gonna run. And I ran and cut that time down significantly, and it felt great, like just to get up and just run. As the sun's coming up and the cars are starting to get on the road, you know what I mean? It felt really cool to be done. And after that, I was like, I can probably do a little more. You know what I mean?
So the little bit more turned into a 50K about last year at this time, and I'm not sure how I convinced you to do that. I just talked about it all the time, and I think I wrote it on the board all the time.
Yeah.
And eventually, like I said, we ran this one like 21-mile route like 2 or 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
But
it made sense. Like doing a half marathon. Well, marathon made sense, not a 50K.
You still haven't done a real marathon.
I haven't. Doing a half marathon and then following up that following week. But we were in training mode. I mean, we had trained that entire year. You know what I mean, right? So, or however long we trained. And so I'm like, I'm kind of in running shape and conditioning. I don't want to stop. So we kept doing like long runs. I mean, we would go 10 miles.
Yeah.
We would do little things like that, kind of flirt with the. Because even before the race, I was ready to do my half marathon.
And I kept telling him, he's like, don't do it until.
Don't do it. I'm like, dude, I can go 16. He's like, don't do it until the race.
Yeah, make the race special.
Make the race. I'm like, Clint, let's just do it.
But
I do remember. He's like, don't do it. No.
So I just kept pushing him over and over, like, we could run this 50K.
Yeah.
It'll be really fun. And then we got Sydney to do it with us.
Yeah.
So that day of the run, we ran really well. I remember it was probably like mile 22.
But I paced you for a race before we even did the 50K, though, you know?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that's what, how many miles did I run with you? Like 10?
Yeah. So I forgot about that. When I did my first 50 mile, Brandon did pacing from Garnett to Richmond.
Dude, okay, so Clint need to give me more credit. I was massaging Clint's calves. I was like putting a hypervolt on his hamstring and on his glutes, stretching them out.
I was a mess.
Like holding him up, wiping sweat off his face.
There's this point in the race where you run underneath 59 highway, I think it is.
Do you remember me stretching out your calves?
Yeah.
Like I was.
And I was like, I'm just going to run to that thing. And it looked like it was about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
It ended up being more like a mile and a half or something. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I was literally almost crying when we got to it because I was just like, it was so hard to get to it. And Brandon was like, he was totally fresh.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun on that run too. I think that kind of gave you the bug too because we saw like a raccoon that was like trying to follow us. And
no, that raccoon was possessed.
Yeah. So we were already on that course. So that was in March. And then I was like, and then in October is when we did the 50K.
Yeah, I think that's what did it for me. Like it was so much fun and it was so peaceful. Like when I paced you, it was so peaceful and so much fun just being on that wide area because it's the same road, right?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I could.
And it was just us. I mean, even in the 50K, there was people around, but most of the time it was just the three of us the whole time. And then we could stop and we saw Wendy and got food and just kept going. But the 50K was definitely your furthest run. Speaking of hurting at the end, I know you were like couldn't hardly run at the end. I don't think you pulled anything, but you were just.
I didn't. So it just seemed like whenever my foot would plantar flex, that thing just shot up to my quad, and my quad would just lock up. Like I just couldn't run. I was cramping up.
And if you run a ultra marathon like that, then you know what that's like. Everyone goes through that. So,
but the truth is, I didn't even prepare. Like I didn't. It was just kind of like
you weren't training like we did for the half marathon
at all. I was just like, let's do it. I kind of calculated it like, okay, I've done a half marathon. Clint had 21 miles come up, and I hadn't really been running much. Maybe 6 miles here and there. And I was like, if I can complete the 21 miles, I know that I can continue to go. You know,
Yeah.
I know that I can push through. And we did the 21 miles. It was a struggle. But I was like, what the hell? Let's do it. Why not?
It was fun. I mean, that was
I'm like, this is my farewell. So
he's kind of retired from racing. He hasn't run a lot. I don't know if you've run a race hardly since then. You ran that St. Patrick's Day with that guy, but he didn't run that fast. So.
He was slow. Yeah. He wasn't impressive. Yeah, but you know what? I'm just kind of enjoying like track work, like sprint work, you know, and just lifting, right?
We always like to do hills and steps and stuff. So one of the things I want to ask everyone on these is, when you were running, did you have like a reason behind it or a mantra? Like, did you want to say, like I do it a lot because I want my kids to see, like, even when you're older, you can still do something, and it's good to have structure and stuff like that. Did you have like something that you said to yourself all the time, or?
Well, one thing I remember, running brought fun back into working out for me, back into training. I'll just say training, because I had become so gung-ho about bodybuilding, you know, right? I mean, I was obsessed with just aesthetically building my body, so I was doing bodybuilding shows prior to that. And it just kind of got monotonous and boring. You know, I no longer felt athletic. I just felt stiff, but I looked great. And so I'm like, you know, when those 4 miles dominated me, I'm like, before anything else, I'm an athlete, you know, and I should have some type of conditioning.
Yep.
You know, I shouldn't just, you know, stick to this one particular way and style of training. So for me, it helped me kind of get that athleticism back. It helped me want to train like an athlete even more, the way I used to train, right? So I became more functional. I became more well-rounded. I started stretching more, you know, which I should have been doing anyways, right? I became more mobile. And it just kind of helped me just get out of that mindset of I'm only doing bodybuilding. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, we had so much fun too. I mean, we would run all over the place.
Yeah.
And mostly in the morning, but we would run at different times too. I mean, that was like, thinking back this summer on my training was like, that was so much more fun to run with you guys instead of by myself, like all the time. Yeah. So, I mean, that was just a fun.
It was just free. I mean,
fun time.
after that run, that 4 miles dominated me, and I got over that, and I was like, I'm going to conquer this. And then I found my athleticism again, and I just found fun again. It was so much fun. It was so free, and that runner's high is a real thing. And once I got bit by the run bug, it was just like, let's go run. And you start buying shoes.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, you look up, you're spending $500, you know, going to Gary Gribble's, you walk out of there $300, but you're so excited to try on your new shoes and your new gear and get your...
You know what I could never get him to do is wear shorts very much.
What is it, the goo? Oh, yeah.
We always joked that we were going to wear like those chicken shorts where they're like super, super short. But he would go out in the summer. I mean, we'd do like these ice cream races.
It's good to see you in pants today.
And he'd wear pants, and I'd be like, come on. He didn't want it to be too much of a distraction. So if we were running around, then that's why. Probably to the guys and the girls.
The moment that I put on shorts, there's a problem. I become a problem to all the women around me. They no longer look at my face. You know, their eyes just So I don't know when I stopped wearing shorts outside of that. You know, I don't know. It's just comfortable to wear pants now. You know what I mean?
And you had that. You had one of the first people I knew that had that carrying case that was like a...
The free train?
Yeah, the thing that was put in the chest. I've seen other people have it now. Yeah. But you were one of the first person I ever saw to have that.
Trendsetter.
Yeah.
Trendsetter. But no, running has definitely just elevated my training a lot, and I'm so glad that I started running. I'm so glad that I started running. And I'll get back to it. I mean, I don't want to say that I would never run another 50K. I don't want to say that because I truly have no idea. I'm open to continuing to evolve. I'm open to always setting my mind on something, like forward thinking and setting goals. So there's a possibility that we could be, Moab?
The Moab 240.
That's a possibility, man, because, you know, I don't know. I think I go in these different phases of, you know, just different things that I want to accomplish. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure at some point I'll start running again. So who knows? We could be sitting here talking about, hey, remember that time at McDonald's? So I won't say I won't never do it again, because I will start running again. So
Okay.
yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to cover this will be my first interview. Even if it doesn't come out first, this is the first one we did.
The only thing I want to cover is that
Uh-oh.
your wife is going to be really mad at you.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for doing this, Brandon.
Absolutely.
It's been great to know you. Not that you're not going to know you anymore.
Oh
But
my
I'm glad I know you. I'm glad that we still talk all the time. And I'm glad you came back. And I'm glad that you're the first one that we got to do this with.
Yes, sir. I think the coolest thing is like the relationship. Like that's probably the coolest thing. Like through me being their trainer, him, his wife, his entire family, it's been more than like a trainer-client relationship, and that's the coolest thing. So to see it kind of evolve and grow into something exceptional.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll run together some other time.
Part of the reason I don't have a trainer now, because I don't feel like I can ever do that again.
Like connect on so many levels with someone else.
Yeah.
So I mean, just keeping the relationship going, making sure I'm checking on them. I know he isn't working out right now, but I'm gonna get him to start lifting some more weights. But again, that's been the coolest thing. You know what I mean? Just the relationship. So right, because I wouldn't be if it wasn't for you, I definitely wouldn't have started running. And I'm sure if it wasn't for me, you probably wouldn't have touched the weight. You know.
Well, I wouldn't have been running either. I mean, I couldn't have run unless we were working out. So
that's true.
I mean, that's what got me there, and then once I got there, then I got you there. So
yeah,
it was a big
Clint's kind of a lone wolf. So for him to even accept me into his life, like Clint, we talk all the time, and we used to talk even more when I was here. But now that I went to Charlotte, he's a little butthurt. But like for him to talk to me as much as he did outside, like when I first met, and you can cut this out, but when we first met, do you remember Wendy did all of the talking? Like he wouldn't even talk to me. Do you remember that?
Because I didn't think it was going to be that long.
Right.
I was like, this is just going to be like for 5 minutes, and then we're either going to stop working, or I don't know. I didn't think I was going to be working out still.
Dude,
this time.
It's so funny to see that. Like me and Wendy did all the talking at first, and then when we started our group chat, it was slowly like she just stopped talking to us completely. But thank you. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to do this for you. So, and I think we should do it again. So.
Okay, well, we're going to sign off here from my favorite place to eat ever, McDonald's. And thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.